Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today, including a really strange, bad story that has a better ending, than it could have, but not great for one person who obviously was messed up. There was a story at a Target in, I think, Omaha, and this guy walks in to Target with an AR, and he starts shooting. But what was really weird is there was nobody that was shot in the store, no employees, no customers, nobody gets shot. So he walks in, he's got 15 magazines. Like, each of these magazines will hold probably 20 to 40 shots, depending on what he's got. And, that's so much ammunition and firepower to do a lot of damage. And, you've seen these shootings before. You're like, what just happened? And how many people lose their lives so quickly. But no one gets hurt at all in this. And so the cops show up a few minutes later after they get the calls, and they confront the guy and instantly take him out, And so for his family, obviously, this is sad, but it definitely ended up having a better outcome than it should be. But they're looking at it and they're saying, they don't really have a reason for what happened, and they said that the Target employees did a great job assisting shoppers and getting out of the store. But if you ask me, this one feels like suicide by cop. It's like where, you don't want to take yourself out necessarily, but you put yourself in a scenario where police have to take action on you,
Yeah, and I don't know what the change is going to be for this to stop happening. I don't think gun laws or stricter gun laws, I don't know if that's going to help or not, but I don't understand why this man didn't get the help that he obviously needed if it was a suicide by police situation. Thankfully, he didn't take anyone with him. Some people do. They could have they could want the same outcome to be taken out by the police, but they decide to take people with them. And that I hate. But at least this guy didn't do that. But also, too, people are still going to be scarred by hearing those gunshots. Sure. That will mess you up.
One of the employees, the Target girl, said she was in the restroom when she heard the firing. And so her first thing was she texted her family and was like, I love you. I don't know if this is it. We had a situation that happened in this area called 12 South where there was a guy in the streets with a gun, and everyone panicked and ran into, I wasn't there, it was my daughter and her friends. Oh, wow. And they all ran into different places of these businesses and restaurants and back rooms and hid. And a lot of the kids were like that. They were calling their parents, and you're like, it's such a sad, broken world. And you don't want that for anybody, much less your kids to live under that threat of violence. And again, you look at all these shootings and stuff, and they're like, well, they obtained the gun legally and stuff. So whatever we're doing on that front is not working. You're right. But what we should be doing to curb the violence is the mental health and the being intentional in people's lives and being proactive in these broken people. But how do you do that? Where do you spend the money on that? Honestly, if we're going to spend money, we lobby about all the things and how to do all these gun rules, and they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars, to fight things, versus why don't you take that money and let's actually do some mental health work in people that could work. And I think the saddest thing is this person was on the police radar, but they never were able to do anything about it, kind of thing. And so those are not this person specifically, but just in general. And those are the hard things. But fortunately, at least no innocent people were killed or hurt in this. But just another tragic day in this world. And speaking of tragic days, Bed Bath & Beyond.
Transition,
yeah, not a good one. Bed Bath & Beyond, they're closing another 87 stores, Rock. 87.
I mean, I thought that they should have closed a long time ago.
No, Bed Bath & Beyond is amazing. They have as seen on TV products, things that you didn't buy when it was on the infomercial.
You can get those at Walmart.
Yeah, I know, but the Bed Bath & Beyond, they always had a 20% coupon. They had all these random things that. And by the way, too, don't jump on the beds that they had displayed because you think they're soft and cushy. They're boards. I found that out the hard way.
Don't jump on the bed.
I went and jumped on one. I was like, clunk. It's like, oh, that's plywood.
When was the last time you've even been to one.
Well, they closed the one by me, and I was so sad.
I haven't seen one in forever.
Yeah, and there's one down here in Cool Springs. I usually visit them during Christmas because they have like good stocking stuffers and weird things, you know. But yeah, if you live in Florida, 11 stores going away.
The struggle.
Yeah, and all in places we are with our terrestrial signal like Boca, Coral Springs, Royal Palm, where I used to live right near there.
It's heartbreaking.
It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken.
I know.
The world's changing.
It's a rough day. It's a rough day. We're all going to get through it together. Lady Rock, what do you got?
Paul Rudd, you know him as Ant-Man, I guess.
Superhero comic ever.
Oh,
Ant-Man's horrible.
Oh, yeah, no. I agree.
I like Paul Rudd. He's great.
I thought you were going to critique Paul Rudd for a second there. I'm like, how do we do that?
He's great, but the show itself is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
How old would you guess Paul Rudd is?
38. Maybe 40.
I think he's in his 50s. I don't know, 51.
He's 53.
Oh, he's just a little bit younger than me. Wow.
Because he was
and
like
we both look this good.
younger.
And he plays
Okay.
a superhero.
Yeah, I know. I could
But
do
like
that too.
a
I just
lame
never get
one.
the options. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's been asked multiple times, how is it that he stays looking so young?
Yeah.
At 53?
We both get this question a lot. I know, like, how do you look so good at this age?
Can I go on with my story?
You sure can, and I'll
But
give you my secret
no,
after.
I don't. You don't have a secret. But he says he stays young through diet, lifting weights,
Not fun.
doing cardio, and getting 8 hours of sleep.
Oh,
That part I like.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says he lifts weights at least 3 times a week, or he tries to. But it's not that he finds this kind of routine comforting. It's just that he knows that it's going to help him in his career.
Yeah.
And if you're curious about what he does eat that he considers healthy, he eats eggs every day, a lot of salmon, and he drinks protein shakes that are just protein powder and water.
I don't like any of those things. Nothing.
But it works.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously works for him. I have a different strategy. I eat
That
1 to 2
doesn't work.
meals a day now, and it's
You
working.
eat pretzels.
And I had pretzels for breakfast.
They're not
yes.
meals.
Yeah, I guess
and he's
it's
on a
empty
fry
calories.
it. Maybe you should ask Paul Rudd if he'll do the fry
The
it.
fry it with me? Yeah, that would be good. I did do that the other day. I find myself mixing diets, and I know that's probably not good. Like the other day when I just had 2 hamburger patties, I'm like, cool, I'm doing Atkins for a day for a meal. I guess it doesn't work that way.
You incorporate a veggie into your diet, and that's what's considered an actual diet because it gives you calories. It's low calories, but you get to eat more often, and it keeps you thin.
Yeah, I don't like the veggies at all. I like starches. Starches are my favorite, like corn and
potatoes.
And potatoes.
Potatoes
Those are things that
are not too bad. They're not too high in
Could
calories.
you eat the skin?
Oh, I like the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like when I get a
Got some
baked
stuff.
potato, I do like the skin. If it's soft, when it's crunchy, I'm not a fan. Yeah. Oh, I do like those tater skin potato chips too. Have you ever had those? The Fridays ones? They call them tater skins. Oh, so good.
I bet Paul Rudd doesn't have
No, he doesn't. But Paul Rudd doesn't enjoy his life. You heard him. He's like, I don't do any of this for enjoyment. Fortunately, unfortunately for him, he's in a business where I think that would be frustrating. Like, say you're just not wired to really love working out and good health and things like that, but your business mandates that you do.
Yeah, it might be
then
good.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't do it. I mean, I was like,
But if they offered you millions of dollars, you still wouldn't do it?
yeah, that I could, yeah,
Oh, easily.
And I guess
I'd
if
like to
that's
see it.
if that's thank you. If that's your own job,
Because I know you would fail.
I could do it.
No,
if I
you
had-
wouldn't. You'd cheat. You'd be one of those that like sneaks to the fridge at night.
If I got $1 million for a thing, I could do it.
But
for
it's
a
like
little bit.
if it's the only thing you have to focus
Right.
on before you start learning your lines and do all
Right.
the acting
Yep.
mumbo jumbo, like that would be great. Like 3 months of just dedication every single day to that. I would love that.
There's some guy on TikTok, V-Shred guy or
Yep.
whatever. Yeah, okay, so you know this guy. So it's funny, it came up in my feed, and I was watching it, and he's like, yeah, the secret to Hollywood actors, this is how they get shredded for a role, and it's like faster and stuff. And it's funny because I was playing it, and I'm watching it. My wife is probably 10 feet from me, so she can't see it at all, and she just hears it. She's like, is that the V-Shred guy? I'm like, what are you watching, the V-Shred guy videos?
He's like, the secret to getting in shape, it's not keto, it's not cardio.
Yeah.
And he does this thing with all of those ads because at one point I remember being like, oh, this, like, let's just see what he does. But he promises the answer to that thing.
Yes.
But then he never tells you because you need to go sign up for his little course. I can't stand those guys.
I hate all of those. I get why, because they need you to convert, and get into their ethos.
That's how they make money.
Yeah, like I totally get that. But man, it's so frustrating. I just there's a guitar player guy that does that as well, and I really like it, but I've never gotten to the end of it because I'm like, I'm not going to sign up for that. Just give me a little bit, and it'll be fine.
What are you looking at?
Oh, I was looking for Nate Bargatze.
Of course.
Yeah, because he had this one funny workout thing where he was talking about like Navy SEALs. He's like, I go all in, and he's like, I needed to lose some weight. Maybe I'll do what the Navy SEAls do. But then he has this whole thing about the before guy.
He actually looks really good.
Yeah. He does. He's lost weight.
A lot of weight.
He lost it in his face too, and he does look really good.
I think he needs to stop. Actually.
Yeah, he's on that fringe of if he loses any more, he'll look sick.
Yeah.
There are people like that maybe it's just because you knew them for so long, and then they lose a bunch of weight, and you're like, oh, you okay? Like they look, they don't look healthy
sickly
anymore. You like them a little bit.
And I'm not saying he looks sickly. I'm saying if he keeps losing more, he will.
I agree with you 100%. I thought the same thing. There's a guy that I know, he's a pastor, same way. Like he was bigger and he lost all this weight, and like, oh wow, you look really good, man. But he's right on that line. Like, don't lose any more. People are gonna be like, hey, man, do we need to start a GoFundMe for you? Are you good?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you got any birthdays?
I do not.
What? That's amazing.
But I can give you a question.
I would love it.
Margie, she says, what is the game you played as a child that you miss or gave you fond memories?
Oh, that you miss. Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you a game that I loved back in the day.
Like is it a playground game or like a board
No, it could
game?
be just a game, like game, whatever.
Yeah.
Mine would be Pretty Princess.
Yeah.
Me too.
They actually still make it, which I was shocked by. But what it is that you all you do is simply spin this wheel, whatever it lands on. You either get a necklace, earrings, bracelet, and you want to end up being the Pretty Princess with the crown.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it outside, inside. I loved it.
Did your dad ever play Pretty Princess with you?
No.
See, this is where I think I'm a good dad. My daughter had the Disney version of Pretty Princess, and I would play Pretty Princess with her. Did I like it? Absolutely not. I hate losing. But I played Pretty Princess. I played Mall Madness with her.
I loved Mall Madness.
I know, right?
My mom played with me. I'm sure she hated it.
Yeah,
but I loved it.
And so, I hope that my daughter. You talk about memories. I hope that my daughter remembers these things and. Some people laugh at you. Oh, you're not manly. But I think being a man is spending time with your kids and pouring into their lives. And I think that's admirable, you know? And so we were at that Jesus Revolution movie, and there was a Broadway star there who has since moved to Tennessee, and her name's Sierra Boggess. And my daughter loves her. She did a master class with her in New York, and my wife saw her. And it's so funny because my wife, again, pouring in our kid, she's like, I'm going to go talk to her. And my wife is so not like that. You know how introverted my wife is, Marty is. And so I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go. I mean, people kind of talk at these things, and everyone's pressing the flesh. So I'm like, yeah, go. It won't be a big deal. And so she goes over and talks to her. This lady was so nice. It was so great. And because I could hear part of their conversation because I stayed seated. And then she was like, and then my wife busts out the picture. I'm like, oh no, she's going for the photo. And she's like, my daughter just loved what she learned from you and stuff. Do you mind? Could we take a picture so I can send it to her? And it'll make her day. And she was so kind. She's like, absolutely, let's go. So she takes one picture, and I'm like, okay, that was good. That's enough. And then all of a sudden I see Marty going again. I'm like, what are you doing? And so it turns out Sierra was like, let's take another one. I guess Sierra didn't like it. And but again, so cool. But again, you pour yourself in. So I go over and I meet her because I'm like, is this lady bothering you, ma'am? and so I meet her, and I was telling her about how I know her because I know her shows and I know who she is because of my daughter. And when you have a kid, you pour yourself into what they're doing. When you have one, you pour yourself into
not
what they do.
Not when you have multiple.
No, only the one that has the most earning potential gets any of that. But she was really cool. She got blackballed in Hollywood, or not Hollywood, in Broadway. Did you guys know that?
We don't keep up with the Broadway news.
Sorry. Okay, so when COVID hit, you know how everybody, especially in New York, you had to follow all the rules and do all these things. Okay, so COVID hits and super liberal environment, California and New York. Well, they were making people get vaccinated, and she didn't want to get vaccinated. And so she said no, and they blackballed her, basically ruined her career, couldn't get work anywhere. And so she was like, you know what? I just kind of, at that point, everything that had been important to me didn't matter anymore. And I kind of felt God telling me this was it. Let's move and do something else. And she came to Tennessee, and she loves it here. And I'm like, yeah, did you get your gun when you came across the state line? Because you're allowed to have one here. It's not like New York where everybody's afraid of everything. It's a great place. You'll love it here. But yeah, so anyway, so she was super cool. Games.
Yes, games.
Were you the only one that answered there? Okay.
Yeah. See, this is my job, though. It's so funny. Like, this is my job. My job is to take one thing that we talk about and at least give it some length.
I just like to figure out how we got here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, rabbit trails. Sometimes I just need one word to get there. Gavin, game.
I mean, I'm just going to, super simple. Checkers at Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
where you go and you
parents?
have just the little mat, and I'd play with my little brother when we were younger. I got it for him for Christmas like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think he's used it.
Yeah. You can't go home sometimes.
No.
Like, you can't go back.
Nope. But I did love that game.
Yeah. I used to love Chutes and Ladders.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that board game, and it was so much fun, and I would play, but I would get so sad when I'd be almost about to win, hit that big ladder all the way down.
70 spots.
I remember crying sometimes, like when I'd play with my daughter.
As a kid? Oh.
No, I'm like, I'm so close to winning. No,
gosh.
but I love that. Did you playground games, though? Do you remember playground games that you would play at school?
Oh, man.
Were there any that you loved?
Like kind of like Floor is Lava-esque?
Yeah, we never did Floor is Lava. That's newer.
Yeah.
Red Rover.
Yeah.
You ever do Red Rover?
We did Four Squares.
Yeah.
Four Squares was good.
Red Rover was traumatizing for me.
Rado.
That's right, but it was traumatizing
because you have
to
run through that barricade of people.
You link your arms together, like your whole other team links their arms together, and your job is to run at them as fast as you can and break through their arms. And so you always try to pick who you think you can get through. And I was all of 4'1".
You run under their arms.
Yeah, I weighed about 90 pounds, soaking wet, and I would run as hard as I could, and I would just basically get clotheslined, and I never could break anybody's arms. And then they always ran at me because I couldn't keep anyone from like busting through.
You're so little.
I was so tiny. I mean, like, I don't think people understand how small I was. Like, I'm small as an adult.
Playground trauma.
But like, I was small as a kid, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. That's why I have Napoleon complex, and that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow on the show. Betty Rock's been trying to get to this for a while. I know.
We've been putting it off, but we'll see.
I know. We'll see how that goes on the show. So if you listen to the regular podcast, make sure you check that out if it happens. But as for this thing, we're done, and that's going to do it for your Aftercast for today, and thanks for being a potty.